The council chambers floated in the void between galaxies, a crystalline structure that had witnessed the rise and fall of 1,000 civilizations. Annie stood before the transparent walls, her translucent form shimmering with the faint blue glow that marked her as one of the last remnants of humanity's consciousness. Uploaded before the final collapse. They're still debating, Massey said, materializing beside her. His form was more solid than hers, a privilege earned through centuries of service to the council. As if there's anything left to debate, Annie turned from the endless darkness outside. How long has it been now? Since the last physical human drew breath. 347 years, 2 months, and 16 days. Massey's precision was characteristic. He had always been the keeper of such details, even when they both had bodies. When they had been researchers at the Institute before everything changed. Not that time means much anymore. The Council had been humanity's final gift to the Galaxia consortium of uploaded minds, the brightest and most capable, tasked with guiding younger species through the perils that had ultimately consumed Earth. Climate collapse, nuclear exchange, biological warfare. The cascade had been unstoppable once it began. But humanity had learned, and in learning, had chosen to preserve not their bodies, but their wisdom. The Voroth are here, Annie said, gesturing toward the assembly hall where dozens of alien species gathered. They want access to the archives. Massey's form flickered with what might have been concern. The weapons archives, all of them. They claim the Shral are amassing fleets at their border. They want to know how humanity defended itself. A bitter laugh escaped Massey. How we defended ourselves. We destroyed ourselves, Annie. That's the lesson they should learn. But Annie knew it wasn't that simple. The Council had debated this very question for centuries. Were they meant to be guardians or ghosts? Teachers or cautionary tales? In the archives lay every innovation humanity had ever created, medical miracles that could cure any disease, agricultural techniques that could feed billions, clean energy that could power civilizations for millennia. But also the weapons. Always the weapons. We should attend the session, Annie said quietly. They phased through the walls, another privilege of their existence, and entered the Grand Assembly. The Voroth delegation stood at the center, their insectoid forms clicking with agitation. Representative Kara spoke through her translator, her voice echoing in the chamber. The Preservation Council claims to serve all species, yet you hoard the knowledge that could save billions of Voroth lives. Is this the humanity you wish us to remember? One that hoards and judges? Elder Nakamura, the Council's longest-serving member, responded with measured calm. We do not hoard, Representative. We cure it. There is a difference. Humanity fell not from lack of knowledge, but from abundance of it. We created wonders, yes, but we also created our own executioner. Philosophical platitudes will not save my people, Kara shot back. Annie felt Massey tense beside her. She knew what he was thinking. They had been through this same argument 100 times. With 100 different species, the pattern was always the same. A threat emerged. A species demanded weapons. The Council refused. The species either found another way or perished. Or worse, they created the weapons themselves and began their own slow march toward oblivion. I request permission to speak, Annie said, her voice cutting through the rising tension. Nakamura nodded, and Annie stepped forward, her form solidifying to appear more present. More real. Representative Kara, I understand your fear. Before the upload, I was a mother. I had 2 children, a boy and a girl. When the wars came, I couldn't save them. No amount of knowledge or technology could stop what we had set in motion. The weapons in our archives, they didn't save us. They killed us. The chamber fell silent. Annie rarely spoke of her past life, of the family she had lost. But she continued. There are other entries in our archives. Diplomatic protocols that prevented 3 major wars. Medical technologies that we've already shared with 40 species. Agricultural innovations that turned 6 desert worlds into gardens. We're not withholding salvation, Representative. We're offering it. Just not the kind you think you need. Kara's mandibles clicked in frustration. And if the Shral attack tomorrow, what will your diplomatic protocols do against plasma cannons? Perhaps the same thing they did for humanity, Massey interjected, stepping forward. They bought us time. Time to think. Time to choose differently. The weapons ended us in months. The peace protocols gave us centuries. Centuries you wasted, Kara said coldly. Yes, Annie agreed, surprising everyone. We did. We squandered our chances, made the wrong choices, prioritized pride over preservation. And that's exactly why we're here now, as warnings in the flesh or whatever we are now. We're the ghost story that every species needs to hear before they make the same mistakes. The Voroth delegation conferred among themselves, their clicking language filling the chamber. Finally, Kara turned back to the council. We will consider your words, she said stiffly. But know this: if our people fall because of your caution, we will ensure the galaxy remembers the Preservation Council as cowards who could have helped, but chose not to. As the Voroth departed, Annie returned to the observation wall, Massey joining her once more. Do you think we're doing the right thing? He asked. Annie watched the stars wheeling in the distance, each one potentially hosting life, each civilization facing its own trials. I think we're doing the only thing we can, she said. We're the memory of a species that flew too close to the sun and burned. If we give them the matches, we're not teachers, we're accomplices. And if they find the matches themselves, then at least we didn't light the fire. They stood in silence, two fragments of a dead civilization, watching over a universe that neither remembered nor mourned what humanity had been. The council remained not as conquerors or saviors, but as witnesses, as evidence that intelligence alone was never enough. That power without wisdom was simply a faster path to extinction. Somewhere in the archives, locked behind encryptions that only the council could access, lay the blueprints for weapons that could crack planets. And there they would stay, gathering digital dust, monuments to a species that had learned its greatest lesson too late. But perhaps Annie thought that was enough. Perhaps being a cautionary tale was its own form of immortality. In the void between galaxies, the council remained, and in remaining, humanity endured not as it had been, but as it needed to be. A warning written in stars, a ghost that refused to be forgotten.